Hello everyone, I'm Siddharthan. In this video, let's understand how we can install different Python libraries in VS Code, Pycharm, and Jupyter notebooks. So you probably will be working on some of these aspects. Let's say you are working with Jupyter notebooks on Jupyter or with Google Collaboratory. And let's say if you are working with some scripting in IDEs like Pycharm or VS Code, so we often have to install some libraries. So in this video, I just wanted to give you a comprehensive guide on how you can do this installation on these different platforms. So that will be the agenda for today's video, and let's get started. So I've already made videos on how you can do the installation for PyCharm VS Code as well as Jupyter Notebook in Windows. So you can refer to those videos. I'll give the link for those videos in this video description. You can refer that. So first, let's start with PyCharm. So let's say that you have installed Python. So maybe the first step is I'll just give you a walkthrough. So first you need to go to Google and search for, let's say, Python download, and you can download the latest version of Python. So from this you can install Python in your machine, and it will ask if you want to add this to the path. So you can kind of do that checkbox and do the installation. So other things are like pretty simple. So after doing that installation, we can install PyCharm and VS Code and other stuff, as I said. So you can refer to those videos. So now let's say that we have installed Python, and now we are working with PyCharm in a project. So I'll open PyCharm, and this is how this would look like. So here you are seeing this project, but if there is nothing else, so this is how the PyCharm looks like for the first time. So here you will see this new project, open project, or get from VCS and so on. So now let's go ahead and create a new project. So here you need to give a path. So maybe I can select a directory. So here I'm just choosing this, let's say, learning directory, and I'm creating another subfolder. So this is the name of the subfolder, and this is like the folder in which this particular project is present. So work, learning, and within that there is a project. So maybe I'll name this as PyCharm install library. So this is the name of the project. Okay, and here you have this option to create this project virtual environment, base conda, and custom environment. So if you want conda, you can do that, or you can create virtual environment, but I would suggest you to go with custom environment. So using this also, we can create a Python virtual environment. So the purpose of virtual environment is that, let's say you're working on multiple use cases at the same time, or let's say for a month you're working on use case in your company, and you're working with different use case after some time. So we need to package this application with different environments, so that some versions of the libraries are kind of not conflicting with the versions of other projects. So it's always kind of good to use this virtual environment. So when it's virtual environment, only the Python files and other codes in this project can access this. For a different project, different virtual environment will be created. So that's the purpose. So first we have given a location, and subdirectory is given in this name, and we have selected custom environment there, and say generate new, and type should be virtual environment. So this is the base Python. So this is what I've told you previously. So once we have downloaded and installed Python, this would show this as the base Python. If you want to install other versions of the Python, the previous version also, you can select this and download this as well. So that's doable as well. So after that, you can just leave the other things as such and click on this create button. So this will create this project, and also will create the virtual environment here. So you can maximize this screen, and you see this venv folder, right? So this is where all the libraries that you're going to install will be saved. So once you click on this terminal, so we have this Python console where you will see this output, Python packages, debugger, and so on. So all those will be there. The critical thing here to note here is the terminal. So here we also have the access to the terminal, which is like good thing about IDEs and PyCharm. And we have this venv. So venv just says that we have activated this virtual environment, and we can run the Python commands and other stuff that we need. So this is where we are going to install the libraries. So here I can just say pip install some library. So pip is kind of the way that we are going to install these packages. Let's say that we want to install pandas, but we want the latest version of pandas. So for that, you can just go to Google, and you can do this for any libraries of your choice. So search the name of the library and say pypa. PYPA stands for Python Package Index, and it also that's from where we are going to install the libraries. And this also has the latest version. If you want to download or install some previous version, you can go to this release history, and choose like a particular version 2.2.1, and this came on Feb 23 2024, and other versions as well. So this is the latest version. So I can just copy this command, I can paste it here and run this. Just say pip install pandas. But if you want a specific version, you can say pip install pandas double hyphen sorry, double equal to sign after this pandas and say this version number, which is 2.2.2. So I can say 2.2.2 and press enter button. So this will install pandas 2.2.2 version, and you can see, so first it will download the library and it will install this. So this is how you can install pandas library in Python from this virtual environment. Again, if you are creating a new project, so from here you can create a new project, and let's say you select a different virtual environment for that. In that case, pandas won't be available there because we are not installing this library in a global level, but it's only in this project level within this virtual environment. So that is the process. So this is how you can install pandas in Pycharm. So if you want, you can also, let's say right click here, create a Python file. So you can click on this directory, or you can also create, let's say, another directory. So I'm creating another directory and naming this as code base. And within this code base, I can right click and create a new Python file and name this as, let's say, check .py, or you can just say check, because this will anyway create a Python file. So as you can see, we have this check.py file and the library is still getting installed. So now you can just say import pandas. So now it says the library is not installed. If you look at this red color sign, it says it's not installed because the process is going on. So once this process is complete, we can run this and make sure that pandas is installed properly. So that's the overall process. And then you can use pandas to create your data frames, read your CSV, and so on. So other stuff that you would generally do in pandas. So that is the process. So now uh, pandas is supported by Pycharm professional, but you can just dismiss this. So this has been installed. So you can clear this one. So this will clear all the previous entries in the terminal. And if you want to look at the list of the libraries, just type in pip list. So this will give you the list of libraries, and you can see we have pandas numpy. So we didn't install numpy. Numpy is installed because it's probably one of the prerequisite for pandas. So this is how we can do this. So now that red color mark kind of went away. We are not seeing that here, but it's showing that, but it doesn't matter. So you can select the current file, the file that we have here. So as you can see, now it kind of went away, but it says install package, but if we run this, it would probably work. So we see that it's not throwing any error here. I can just say print pandas dot version. So this would print the version of the pandas library that we have, so 2.2.2. So this is how we can install libraries. There is also another interesting way to do this. So let's say that you are working on a project, and often we work with, let's say, 10, 20s and any number of libraries, like pretty much a large number of libraries. In order to install all those libraries, you can create a file and name this as requirements.txt. So it's a txt file. You can name it anything, but requirements.txt is the conventional name that we use. So you can just use that version. So here you can name the libraries that you want. So let's say that I want pandas. So I'm saying pandas is equal to 2.2.2, the version that we add. And again, there should be a double equal to sign, and we can think about other libraries as well. So let's say that I want to, install maybe a smaller library or something. Maybe I'll try to install matplotlib. So I can say matplotlib pypa, which is used to build graphs and so on. So you can copy this matplotlib along with the version number and put it here. So similarly, you can put any number of libraries within this. So once you save this, you can even close it or you can keep it open. So that doesn't matter. So in the come back to this terminal, you can again clear all these things. So now if you do this pip list, we see that we don't have matplotlib here, but we do have pandas. So when we try to install all the libraries, it should say pandas requirement satisfied and matplotlib will be installed. So I'll again clear this. So for installing this one, if you see the directory that we are in this terminal is pycharm install libraries, which is this directory, and this directory has requirements.txt. You can also list the files in this directory by saying ls. So it would give you the files that we have. So one is like the requirements.txt and so on. So here I can say same pip install -r requirements.txt. So what this will do is when I say pip install -r, it will look for a txt file, and from that it will install all the libraries with the corresponding versions. So I'll run this. So this will again download matplotlib. For pandas, it would have saved that requirement already satisfied for pandas and other stuff. And now it's installing the other libraries. So this is how you can install a bunch of libraries at one go. So we have this pip install uh, -r requirements.txt. So the command is somewhere here. Okay, so this is the process, and there is also a chance that the requirements.txt is in a separate folder. So let's say that I'm clicking on this code base and creating another file called as requirements.txt. And if I want to install this, in that case, I have to say pip install -r space code base slash requirements.txt. So that's how it will open this code base folder and then install this requirements.txt txt file. So the library is mentioned in that thing. Maybe I can just copy all those things here and paste it over here. And once this installation is complete, we can try installing it with the requirements.txt, but within this folder. So it has kind of executed, and again you can check the pip list thing, and it would say that we have matplotlib because we have installed it, and again all the dependent libraries. So let me just clear this again. So now what I'm going to do is delete the previous requirements.txt file. So now we have this requirements.txt in the code base, right? So if I open the terminal and just say pip install -r requirements.txt, it would say could not open requirements.txt, no such file, because this is in Pycharm install libraries project. So that doesn't have the requirements.txt file. But within that we have code base folder, and within that we have the requirements.txt file. So because of that reason, we have to say pip install space -r code base slash requirements .txt. So this will again look at this particular requirements.txt and install it. So it says requirement already satisfied because we have already installed all the libraries. So this is how you can either install the libraries by looking at the version number and just like copying this pip install command, or you can put a bunch of libraries in your requirements.txt file and then you can install it from here. So this is how you can do this via Pycharm. So now let's understand how this can be done in VS Code. So some people may prefer using VS Code instead of Pycharm, and the again advantage of VS Code is that you can also run Jupyter notebooks there. So that's one advantage. Maybe I'll open a new project. So this is how VS Code will look like once you kind of open it for the first time. And again, I've made videos on how you can get started with VS Code, create a virtual environment, and so on. You can find that link in this video description. So now let's say that maybe open a folder, same thing that we did with PyCharm as well. So I'm just choosing a folder. So let's say that there is a learning folder and I'm creating a new folder and I'm naming this as VS Code. Okay, let me put a hyphen. Install libraries. So this is the folder. Okay, I have to first create this. Like go here and create a new folder and name this thing. And I'll open this folder, delete this one and say select folder. So this folder doesn't have anything, so we are not seeing anything here. So here you can create a new file. And before that, you can also install the Jupyter extension, Python extension, and so on. So I've already mentioned that one in that particular video. So now I'll just create a new file. So there are like multiple ways. Either you can go here, create a new file and choose Python file, or you can just right click here and create main.py or something. So I'll go here and create a new file and name this and give this Python file. So now you have this interpreter here. So when you're working for the first time, you may not see this, so you may get a error saying that there is no interpreter selected. So in this case, it's not a virtual environment, but the base Python that we have installed in the first step. So if you want to select a virtual environment, just like PyCharm, where we can have a .venv folder, you can click on this 3.12.5, the Python version number that you're seeing. So click on this and you will see an option to create a virtual environment. So click that and it will say a conda environment or a virtual environment. So we can go with the virtual environment. So this creates .venv virtual environment in the current workspace. So I'll click this, and this is the base interpreter path, the Python the Python software that we have downloaded and installed previously. So this would create this .venv folder, and this is where all the libraries that we are going to install in this virtual environment in this particular project will stay. So that's the process. So now here you can say it says .venv, venv, and so on. So basically it uses this particular virtual environment now. So here I can save this file, maybe name this as main.py. So it's already save as type Python, so it will already create this .py extension. And here I can say something. So let's say print hello and so on. So now I'll run this. So it says hello. Now let's try to see if we have pandas here. Import pandas. Okay, so it says no module named pandas. That means in this particular virtual environment, pandas is not there because this won't look at the global package, but look at this .vnv. So now we have to open this terminal and then kind of install pandas. So that's the next process. So I've cleared everything. And now for this, we first need to activate the virtual environment. So in Pycharm, virtual environment is already activated in the terminal. So we don't have to worry about that. But in VS Code, we have to activate that, but there is a catch there. In VS Code, or in general in Windows, some scripts won't be executed just for some protection, so that like some you know dangerous softwares and scripts are not executed. There will be an execution policy that will restrict you to run some scripts from the terminal. So there is some ways to adjust that execution policy. So there is this first step of set execution policy of remote signed scope process. So this will allow you to download some scripts and run it from the terminal for a particular session. So the next time, let's say you open the terminal, the next time you open VS Code and work with it, it won't let you to execute the script. So that's the difference. So this is like a one-time thing which is going to allow you to run commands in this terminal. So this is basically a Windows command prompt kind of a thing that we are seeing here. So uh, that's the idea. So if you want a temporary permission to allow the scripts, you can run this set execution policy thing and then run this .venv activate. So maybe I'll copy this and show this to you. I'll paste this here. So it says set execution policy remote sign scope process. So now I can run this next step, which is .venv scripts activate. So if you go back to this .venv, in that you have this folder of scripts and we have this activate. So this is what we are going to do. So we are going to activate, run that activate script, and that will activate this virtual environment. So every time you need to set this execution policy if you want a secured way. But let's say that you don't want to run this every time, but you just want to run this venv scripts activate and you want to execute the script. So what you can do is you can kind of permanently allow the execution of script using this set execution policy unrestricted. So let me show that to you, but this won't run as such. In order to run this command, so this only runs in an elevated permission level. That means you have to start VS Code with admin privileges. So what you have to do is, maybe I can close this and show this to you. I can right click on Visual Studio Code and run this as administrator. Now I can copy this command of set execution policy unrestricted. So I'll clear this and paste the set execution policy unrestricted. So this has kind of worked, and now I can activate my virtual environment. So every time I don't have to kind of do this again and again. So the next time I don't have to run this as administrator because I've already allowed the permission to execute the script in a permanent way. So now I can just open this Visual Studio Code without admin privileges and I clear all this and just say .venv scripts activate. That will activate my virtual environment. Now if let's say that you don't want to give this much permission to this terminal session and so on, so you want to revert back to this, in that case what you can do is again open this Visual Studio Code as administrator, give yes, and in this command that I've shown you, you just have to change this unrestricted to restricted. So this will restrict the execution of script and it will revert back to the previous case. And if you want, you can use this process, the first command that will let you to allow this for one particular session. So here I'll copy and paste this set execution policy restricted. So now I'll come back because that was in administrator mode. So now I'll again run this without administrator privileges and I'll try to run this command of, sorry, should be clear. .venv scripts activate. So it says that we have this unauthorized access and so on because we have restricted that thing. So now I'll again do the same thing. So I just wanted to do this demonstration so that you don't kind of face this error. So if you want a simple way of allowing permission for the script, you can use this unrestricted thing. But you want to you are okay with running this command every time you want to access terminal, you can just use this. So I'll go with this unrestricted thing. So I'll again open this as administrator mode so that it has some elevated permissions. And again, I'll close this and open this without administrator mode because usually we don't open this with administrator mode to write programs and other stuff. So now I can just activate my environment by saying .venv slash scripts slash activate. So as you can see, now it's not throwing that error because we have unrestricted access for running the scripts. So that's about it. And other steps are like pretty similar to what we have done previously, like pip install thing. So let's say that we want to install NumPy. So again, you can go to Google and search NumPy PyPI, and within this we have this numpy version is 2.1.1, or you can just say pip install numpy, so that will install the latest version compatible for your Python version. So you can run this, and then it will kind of again download numpy and install it and so on. So this will happen, and later once this has been installed, you can import numpy here and you can like work with it just like the way that we have done in Pycharm. So you can look at the version of numpy as well, so that should work. In the meantime, I can also, let me close this VNV. I can again also create this requirements.txt file. So let me right click here and say new file will be requirements.txt. So here I can say numpy version. So let's say that the numpy version and the pandas version we want is 2.1.1. So I can just say numpy double equal to 2.1.1. So the internet speed is like slightly low. It's like very low, so it's kind of taking some time, but that's okay. So similarly, you can just have this requirements.txt file, and as I said before, in the terminal you can just say pip install space -r space requirements.txt. So that will go through the requirements.txt file and install all the libraries that we have mentioned in that file. Similarly, if you have this requirements.txt file in a folder, you can do the same thing. So mention that directory name, and after that mention slash requirements.txt, and that will install the libraries that you need. So that is the process. So this is almost done. So it's installing numpy. We come back to this main.py. So it says pandas is not accessible. Let me change this to numpy. Let me clear this, and here I'll say print numpy dot double underscore version. This will give you the version number of library that you have. So it says 2.1.1. So now again I can do this installation from this requirements.txt. This is not in my, oh, this is execution, so that's why it's not showing you that uh, this thing, the venv, but in the terminal you can select between this code execution and the Python terminal. So here I can just say pip install space -r requirements.txt. So this will install. It says requirement already satisfied because we have already installed the libraries. So now let's say that you want to work with Jupyter notebooks in the same VS Code thing. So you can just go to this file and create a new file and select Jupyter notebook. But for that to work, you need to install Jupyter extension, Python extension, and so on. So just like search for that extension, you will see this install button, and you can install those extension to work easily with those kind of files. So I'll close this, and here I'll go to this file, create a new file, and select Jupyter notebook. So here also we need to select a kernel, or basically what Python environment that we have to use. So here I'll click on select kernel and say Python environments, and this .venv is nothing but the virtual environment that we have created. This Python is like the global Python that we have installed. So select this .venv, and now you can do a pip list. So for to run execute Jupyter notebooks, you need this IPY kernel. So you can install this one, and here we can, from this terminal we can see the list of libraries using this pip list command. So let's see. So once this IPY kernel has completed installation, we can look at this list, and similarly you can import numpy here and also print the numpy version. So numpy dot double hyphen version. So this has executed, and now we are seeing the list of libraries. We have NumPy and other stuff and so on. So this is how we can do this. So here from this Jupyter notebook cell itself, you can install libraries. So that's what we will see. But in proper Jupyter environment, but this is in VS Code. So you can just say percentage sign and say pip install. Let's say we want numpy or any libraries, so I just need to run this cell now. So you can click on this run button, and this will execute this, and it will install the numpy library. So you need to restart the kernel to activate this thing, but this is the process. So just say percentage sign pip install numpy. So percentage sign is just to tell the notebook that I'm running a terminal command, so it will install the libraries that you need. But again, the better approach would be to always maintain a requirements.txt file and make sure that you have your library there. So that's how you can access this. You can save this as and say that notebook one or something. So this is how you can work with VS Code to install the libraries and so on. So the last step that we are going to work with is installing libraries in Jupyter Notebook. So just similar to what we have done, but in Jupyter thing. So I'll close this VS Code. So we have already installed Python. So I hope that you have completed that particular process. So you can refer to my previous videos. So you can open your command prompt and say Python space double hyphen version. So this will give you the Python version once you have installed it. Again, this will work only if you add your Python to your path. So I mentioned in that video. So make sure that you check that checkbox, and then you will see this. So now to install Jupyter, you just have to say pip install Jupyter. I've already installed this, so it will just say it has already completed that installation. Now we have to, start this. Oh, it's not recognized. Let me open another thing and just say once you have installed Jupyter Notebook, you can just say Jupyter space notebook. So this will open the instance of this Jupyter Notebook thing. Oh, sorry, it should be a Mr. Y. So this will automatically open a browser window, and here you can create this files and so on. So this is from your users directory, and here you can just create a new notebook and work on it. But let's say that you want to create the notebooks in a specific folder. So I'll stop this thing. I can click here and just press Ctrl C, so that will stop that. I'll open another, maybe I'll close this one, and I'll create a folder here, and I'll name this as uh, Jupyter notebooks, Jupyter notebook files. So this is because you can save all those files in this particular directory. So open this folder, right click here and open in terminal. And from here, you can open your Jupyter notebook, say Jupyter notebook, and all the notebooks that you create from this environment will be saved in that Jupyter notebooks directory that we add in the desktop. So you can click on this new, go to this IPY kernel. Again, you can put a exclamatory mark here. So instead of percentage, you can do a exclamatory mark. Again, this is to tell the environment that now I'm working with terminal commands. So say pip install space numpy. So this would say requirements already satisfied because that library is already installed, but this is not working with any virtual environment. This is from my global Python packages. So that's where this particular library will be installed when we use this one. So it's successfully installed. So it's using cache and it has installed. Now let's say that you want to again use a requirements.txt file. You can create a new file and name this as maybe requirements.txt. Okay, and open this file and you can edit this as well. So now again say some library name, and maybe I'll use numpy as well, so that we don't waste any time for downloading this package. So put this numpy here and the process remains the same. So make sure that the notebook as well as the requirements.txt are in the same directory. So we can just say exclamatory mark pip install space -r requirements.txt. So this will go through the requirements.txt file and kind of satisfy that request. So this is how you can do this installation. And again, you can import numpy and look at the version if you want. So, and you can again work, of course, work with that library and so on. So say numpy will be within quotes. So numpy dot double hyphen version, again double hyphen. So we will look at the version number. So this is how you can install the libraries in Pycharm VS Code as well as in Jupyter Notebook. So the other variation of this is probably you would also have installed Jupyter Notebook from Conda. So maybe in a different video, I'll explain you how you can start with Anaconda Navigator, use this Jupyter notebook and install the libraries, but things are pretty similar there as well. So even in the Jupyter notebook of Anaconda Navigator, so if you, let's say, start Jupyter notebook from your Anaconda Navigator or your Conda prompt, you can still go to the cell and install numpy and requirements from this particular cell command. So just put exclamatory mark and say pip install either with the version number or without version number or with the requirements.txt file. So I hope that this video is useful to you in your Python learning journey. So that is all from my side, and I'll see you in the next upload. Thanks for watching.